Sister thought it'd be hilarious to prank her husband by claiming she's pregnant with my husband's baby at her own baby shower. Her husband now refuses to be involved until she proves the baby's DNA. She and the family want me to convince him of her innocence. It all started at my sister Amy's baby shower. Amy, who's 24, was pregnant with her first child and had been planning her baby shower for months. She loved being the center of attention, and I thought this day would be all about her. What I did not expect was that things were about to get really awkward. Amy and I have always had a complicated relationship. Growing up, she was always the dramatic one who loved being the star of everything. I've always been quiet and calm, so we didn't always get along. But still, I thought it would be nice to put our differences aside and support her on her special day. My husband, Landon, and I arrived early to help Amy get everything ready. She was already stressing about the decorations and making sure everything was perfect, so I jumped in to help. Cameron, her husband, was there too, but he was just trying to stay out of the way, letting Amy do her thing. Cameron is a great guy, super chill and supportive. I've always liked him. The baby shower was going pretty smoothly. Everyone was chatting, eating, having a good time. Amy was excited talking about her baby girl and all the plans she had for the nursery. But then, out of nowhere, Amy pulled me aside. She told me she had an idea. She was planning to prank Cameron. I did not think much of it at first, but then she said something that made me freeze. She wanted to tell Cameron that she was pregnant with Landon's baby. At first, I thought she was joking. There's no way she could be serious about that. Right? But she looked so excited about it, like she could not wait to see the look on his face. She thought it would be hilarious, but to me, it sounded like a terrible idea. I tried to talk her out of it. I told her it was not funny and that it was going to cause a lot of problems. I reminded her that Landon and Cameron were close friends, and it would just make everything so awkward. But Amy was not having it. She was determined. She said it'll be fine, brushing off my concerns. As the shower went on, I could not help worrying about what she was about to do. I tried to keep an eye on her, hoping she'd back down. But when the moment came, she stood up in front of everyone, grabbed their attention, and announced that she had something to say. Everyone went quiet, waiting for her to share something about the baby. But then Amy looked straight at Cameron and told him that she was pregnant with Landon's baby. The room went completely still. Everyone just stared, not knowing how to react. Cameron looked confused, then shocked, then worried. He looked at me, then back at Amy, trying to figure out if she was serious. This was not funny. Amy had gone too far. Cameron looked like he was in a state of shock, and I could tell it was not something he knew how to handle. He was just standing there completely frozen. The longer I watched, the more uncomfortable I felt. Amy stood there waiting for Cameron's reaction like she was enjoying the moment. But Cameron was not laughing. He was not even smiling. He just looked completely lost, unsure of what to say or do next. Landon, who had been sitting quietly beside me, finally stood up, and he was looking at Amy with wide eyes, trying to understand what was happening. He did not say anything at first. He just stared at Amy and then back at me. I could tell he was getting frustrated. He was clearly upset by what she had just done. Then Amy started laughing. She could not stop herself, almost falling over from how hard she was laughing. She kept saying it was just a joke, but by that point it was not funny anymore. Cameron did not laugh. No one did. There was just this heavy silence in the room, and you could feel how uncomfortable everyone was. I felt so bad for Cameron. He did not deserve this. He hadn't done anything wrong. And there was Amy ruining the mood of her own baby shower just for attention. It was not funny. It was cruel. After that, the rest of the shower was awkward. Amy tried to explain that it was just a joke, but no one seemed to care. People did not know how to respond. Everyone was just quiet, trying to act like things hadn't just gotten incredibly awkward. I was so upset. Cameron did not deserve to be put in that situation, neither did Landon. Amy had really crossed the line this time. She did not see it, but I could tell Cameron was hurt. Landon was too. It felt like everything was ruined, and for what? A laugh? A prank that no one found funny? Landon and I did not stay much longer. We both just wanted to leave. I didn't want to be there anymore. Amy could act like everything was fine, but I knew she had gone way too far. It was not funny. It was not a joke. It was just mean. Couple of weeks passed since Amy's baby shower, and everything got worse, not better. Cameron, Amy's husband, refused to have anything to do with her unless she proved that the baby she was carrying was his. He was convinced that the prank was not a joke, and he believed there was more going on between Amy and Landon than anyone. For Amy was devastated. She cried non-stop for days, and my mom, Molly, and Dad, Glenn, did what they could to support her. But I could see that this was bigger than they realized. They still wanted to fix things between her and Cameron, even though I did not think it was possible anymore. The family started looking to me for help. They wanted me to convince Cameron that Amy was not guilty and that the prank was just a misunderstanding. They wanted me to step in and fix things, to make Cameron believe that Amy was innocent. At first, I did not know what I could do. Cameron had every right to be upset, confused, and hurt. He had been tricked into believing something that was not true. I didn't blame him for not trusting her anymore, but the family kept pushing me to talk to him. They wanted me to make things better even though I was not sure how I could do that. Amy had always been the drama queen, and I'd always been the one cleaning up after her. Now I felt like I was expected to fix her mistakes again. It was not fair and I was frustrated. But then I thought about Cameron and how much she was hurting, and I felt like maybe I should at least try to help. The first thing I did was talk to my parents. My mom kept saying, "You need to help her. She's going through so much and she's scared. Just talk to Cameron. He'll understand if you explain it to him." I understood where she was coming from. She was protective of Amy and she hated seeing her upset. But I did not think she saw the full picture. Amy messed up big time, and I was not sure if there was any way to fix this. Still, my parents kept asking me to intervene. They wanted me to talk to Cameron even though I did not think it was my place to do so. I was frustrated, but I knew I could not ignore the fact that everyone was hurting. If I didn't do something, it seemed like Amy and Cameron's marriage might fall apart, but that was not all. While my parents kept pushing me to talk to Cameron, they also started siding with Amy. My mom kept saying things like, "Amy did not mean for things to go this far. It was just a joke. She never would have done something like this on purpose." I could not deny that Amy had made a huge mistake. There was no excuse for what she did, but my mom did not seem to get it. She kept trying to protect Amy even though it was clear that Amy was the one who caused this problem. It felt like this was just another repeat of the past where I was the one cleaning up her mess again, and I was tired of it. Amy was not helping either. She kept insisting that it was just a harmless prank and that Cameron should just get over it. She could not understand why he was so upset. She was so focused on defending herself that she did not see the bigger picture. She was in denial, thinking that if she cried enough and said she was sorry, everything would go back to normal. But this was bigger than a simple apology. I tried to support her, but I felt like I was enabling her behavior. She needed to take responsibility for what she did, but instead, she was acting like the victim. I was tired of dealing with this, but she was my sister, and I felt obligated to help her. After a lot of back and forth, I finally agreed to talk to Cameron. I did not know what I could say to fix things, but I knew that if I did not try, everything might fall apart. The whole family kept pushing me to do this, and I didn't feel like I had a choice. I met Cameron at a coffee shop. When I saw him, he looked tired, upset, and frustrated. He was clearly thinking a lot about everything. He wanted to believe in Amy, but he was hurt and confused. He looked at me almost pleading for answers, but I was not sure what to say. I told him that I understood why he was upset, and I told him that Amy did not mean for this to go so far, but I could see that he was not convinced. He told me that he could not trust her anymore and that he did not know if he could ever look at her the same way. He was angry and he was hurt, and no matter what I said, it did not seem to make a difference. He said he needed proof. He wanted to know if the baby was really his, and he told me that he was not going to be involved in anything until Amy could prove it. He demanded a DNA test. At that point, I couldn't blame him. If I were in his shoes, I would probably feel the same way. Amy's actions had caused so much damage that it was hard to believe anything she said anymore. I could not deny that she had ruined his trust. I left a meeting feeling drained and frustrated. I didn't know how to fix this. My family kept calling me, asking for updates, and I felt like I was stuck in the middle. They wanted me to keep trying to convince Cameron to forgive Amy, but I was not sure what else I could say. Amy messed up and now she had to deal with the consequences of her actions. My parents were still pushing me to make things right, but I felt like there was only so much I could do. I didn't make this mess, and I was not sure I could fix it for her. Cameron was not wrong for demanding a DNA test, and I thought he had every right to feel the way he did. But Amy had put me in a difficult position. She was the one who made this mistake, and now I was the one being asked to fix it. I wasn't sure what to do next. I wanted to help my sister, but I was tired of always cleaning up after her. I felt like I had been dragged into a situation that I did not have control over, but the family kept looking at me to solve it. And I did not know if I could. So I'd for not just stepping in and convincing Cameron to forgive Amy and drop the DNA test demand? Should I be doing more to help her, or is this something she needs to fix on her own? I feel like I'm stuck in the middle of something that isn't even my fault, and honestly I just do not want to be a part of it anymore. I tried really hard to stop Amy from doing the prank, but she messed it up so badly. Now everyone is acting like it's my responsibility to fix everything, and I just can't take it anymore. I do not know how she could be so dumb. She didn't even think about the consequences of her actions, and now we're all dealing with the fallout. Cameron has contacted me, but I'm honestly not sure how I can help him. He's still confused about everything and he keeps saying that he just needs some space. I get it. He's hurt and he needs time to think about what happened. But the problem is my family won't give him any space. They keep calling him, texting him, and even showing up at his house out of the blue. They keep pushing him thinking they're helping, but they're only making matters worse. I've tried to tell them to back off, but they're just not listening. My parents, especially, are acting like they're entitled to have a say in everything. They keep saying they just want to fix things, but they're not giving Cameron the space he needs to process everything. Instead of letting him breathe, they're crowding him, and I can already see it pushing him further away. If they keep this up, I'm worried that Cameron might decide he's done with everything, and that would probably be the end of his relationship with Amy. I told my parents that they need to stop smothering him. I've tried to explain that this isn't helping anyone, but they just do not get it. They're acting like teenagers who do not understand the consequences of their actions. They think that if they keep contacting him, he'll come around, but it's not going to work that way. They're making it worse, and I'm starting to feel like I am the only one who sees it. It is frustrating because they won't listen to me. They think they know what's best, but all they're doing is creating more problems. Honestly, I do not know what to do anymore. I want Cameron and Amy to work things out. I want them to find a way to fix their relationship, but I'm starting to think it might be too late. With everything that's happened, it's hard to see how things could go back to normal, but I'm also not sure how much more I can handle. My family is constantly pulling me into the middle of this mess, and I'm getting exhausted. It feels like I'm the one who has to fix everything, but I did not make this mess, and I can't fix it by myself. I'm not sure how much more I can do to try to keep the peace between everyone. The constant pressure to fix things is wearing me down, and I just want to escape from it all. I want to block everyone, ignore the situation and let them figure it out themselves, but I know I can't do that either. Amy is my sister. I can't just walk away from her, but I also do not want to be stuck in the middle of this anymore. It's too much. I understand that Amy made a huge mistake, and I get why Cameron is so upset. He has every right to be angry and confused, especially after the way Amy handled everything. But my family's constant interference is only making things worse. They're not giving Cameron any room to think, and it's pushing him further away. It feels like they just want everything to go back to normal, but they don't understand that it's not that simple. I've tried to explain it to them over and over, but they won't listen. They just keep telling me that I need to help fix things and that I need to talk to Cameron, convince him to forgive Amy. But I'm starting to realize that I can't keep doing this. I can't keep fixing things for Amy, especially when she's not taking responsibility for her actions. She's acting like the victim, and it is frustrating because she's the one who caused all this mess. I don't want to keep being the one who has to clean up after her. At this point, I'm not even sure what I want anymore. I want Cameron to find peace and be happy, but I also want Amy to learn from her mistakes. She needs to take responsibility and stop expecting everyone else to fix her problems. I want my family to stop putting so much pressure on me to fix everything, but I'm not sure how to make them understand. They keep calling me, texting me, asking for updates, and it's driving me crazy. I can't keep up with it all, and I feel like I'm being pulled in 1,000,000 different directions. I am frustrated, and I'm getting to the point where I just want to block everyone. I know that's not the answer, but I do not know what else to do. I do not want to keep being dragged into this. I just want to step back and let everyone figure things out on their own. But I feel like I can't. I feel like everyone's looking at me to fix things, and I'm so tired of being the middle person. It's not fair, and it's taking a toll on me. So here I am stuck in the middle, frustrated, not sure what to do. I want to help, but I can't keep being the one to fix everything. I just want some peace, and I do not know how to get it. I want Cameron and Amy to find a way to work things out, but with the way my family is acting, I'm worried it might be too late. After the last update, I thought things would calm down, but as it turns out, they've gotten even more complicated. Cameron reached out to me the other day to fill me in on everything that happened after my family showed up at his place. I really did not expect things to escalate the way they did, but Cameron had a lot to say, and it was clear that he had finally reached his breaking point. When Cameron texted me, he started by saying he was not sure what to do anymore. He explained that after my family and Amy showed up with gifts, cakes, and the usual attempts to fix things, he could not hold it together anymore. Cameron said that when they first arrived, he was trying to be polite, thinking maybe they just needed to talk and get it all out. But as time went on, he said he felt like he was suffocating. His frustration kept building up, and before he knew it, he could not take it anymore. Cameron said that when he lost it, he just snapped. He screamed at them and he was proud of it, but he said it felt like the only way to make them understand how he was feeling. The way he described it, he just could not keep pretending everything was fine when it was not. He said he had tried so hard to be understanding, to be patient with Amy, but at some point, you can't ignore the truth. He said he told them that Amy's pranks weren't funny anymore. He was not holding back. He explained how her pranks have caused so much drama over the years, including making their mutual friends break up. He even mentioned that one of her pranks involved telling his mom that she saw his dad with another woman, which had been one of the worst things she ever did. Cameron said that at first, he did not know about this specific prank, but after everything came out, he realized how much harm it had caused. He felt like every time Amy did something like that, it was a blow to their relationship, and no one took him seriously when he tried to call her out on it. He said he could not stand the idea of staying with someone who didn't see how damaging her behavior was. At that point, Cameron said he told them how he felt about everything, how tired he was of trying to keep it all together while Amy kept making poor decisions. He said he couldn't stay in a relationship like this anymore. He could not be with someone who thought her pranks were cute when they were actually wrecking everything. Cameron said he could not keep living like this, pretending that things were okay when they clearly weren't. He told them that Amy needed to grow up, and if she couldn't, he could not be with her anymore. But that was not even the worst part. Cameron said that the real reason he got so angry was not just about Amy's pranks. It was because of how my family and Amy had been smothering him. They hadn't given him any space to think. Every time he tried to take a step back and process everything, someone would show up at his place or they'd text or call him. Cameron said he had barely any time to himself to figure out what he actually wanted. He felt trapped, like he was being pushed into a corner, and that's when he lost it. He said he couldn't keep living like that, constantly under pressure with no time to think. He needed space, and if they could not respect that, he'd have to make a decision about his relationship with Amy. He told them that if they didn't stop smothering him, he would end things with Amy. He did not want to make that decision, but he said that at this point he felt like it was the only way to get them to understand. Cameron said he could not keep pretending that things were fine when they were clearly falling apart. The pressure was too much. He needed to have the freedom to think things through without being constantly reminded of everyone's opinions. At that point, he said things got quiet. It was clear my family and Amy did not want to hear that. They did not want him to break up with her, but he said he couldn't keep living with all that pressure. Eventually, they agreed to give him the space he was asking for. Cameron said it was the only way things would work out, but he was still uncertain about what would happen next. He was not sure if Amy would change or if this space would help him figure out what he truly wanted. It has been a week since that conversation, and Cameron said it has been a lot quieter. He mentioned that he's finally had the space he needed to clear his head. For the first time in a while, he said he's been able to think without the constant pressure from everyone. Cameron said he hadn't heard from my parents or Amy since that day. They've been quiet. He's been able to focus on himself. He told me that despite everything, he was still holding on to the hope that things might work out between him and Amy, but he was not sure. He admitted that he still cared about her, but he also realized that he could not keep making excuses for her. He could not keep letting her behavior slide, and he needed to decide whether or not this relationship was worth fighting for. He said he was not ready to make a final decision yet, but the space had at least given him the time he needed to think about it. Overall, Cameron said he was feeling a little better, though still uncertain about the future. He told me that he was trying not to put too much pressure on himself to figure everything out immediately. He was giving himself time to breathe, and that was a relief for him. I do not know what will happen next, but Cameron seems to be handling things a lot better now that he's gotten the space he needed. It is still up in the air, but he's not as overwhelmed as he was before. He's just trying to stay calm and take his time to decide what's best for him. It has been a few months since everything went down, and I wanted to give an update on how things have been going with Amy and Cameron. I know some of you have had questions, and I just want to clear up one thing first. I do not have feelings for Cameron. He's my childhood friend's younger brother, and that's all, so there's nothing romantic going on. I hope that clears things up. Now let's get back to what's been happening after all of that. Cameron finally contacted Amy. He told her that he was willing to work things out as long as she agreed to some changes. He made it clear that she needed to stop playing pranks and start acting more mature, especially since they were about to have a baby. He told her that she needed to accept responsibility for her actions because it was no longer just about her. It was about their future and the baby they were going to have. I was actually surprised when Amy agreed. It wasn't easy for her, but she said she was willing to try. They decided to go to couples therapy to help them work through their issues, and it seems like it is actually helping them. They've been taking it one step at a time, but it looks like they're both really trying to make things work. I can't lie. It has been a relief to see them take some responsibility and start getting things back on track. In the month that passed, Amy was really scared about what might happen to Cameron. She was feeling so anxious that she almost begged Landon to help her with a DNA test just to prove to everyone that the baby was Cameron's. Landon, who has always seen Amy like a little sister, agreed to help her. He knew that this whole situation was Amy's fault, but he also did not want her to be left in the dark, unsure about everything. So he helped her with a DNA test to make sure the truth came out. It was not about taking sides, but just making sure there were no more doubts hanging over their heads. During this time, Amy stayed with us for a while. She was really down. And even though I was not thrilled about being caught in the middle of everything, I could not just leave her on her own. She's my youngest sister, and even though I felt like she needed to learn to take responsibility, I knew she was going through a tough time. So I did what I could to support her even though it was not easy. I never tried to influence Cameron's decisions. I knew it was not my place to get involved in their relationship. It was between them. Whatever happened, they would have to figure it out. But I did tell Cameron that I believed Amy was capable of change, and I think he's starting to see that she really is trying. It is clear that she's not the same person she was when all of this started, and it seems like the therapy is helping her grow. It's not perfect yet, and I'm not sure where things will go in the future. But for now, it seems like things are on a better path. Amy has started to take things more seriously, and the pranks have stopped. She's been thinking a lot more about what she's doing, and it looks like she's really trying to make amends for all the damage she caused. Cameron, on the other hand, is doing his best to support her, but he's also holding her accountable. He's not letting her off the hook for the things she's done, but he's giving her the chance to prove she can change. Things are calmer now, and for once, I do not feel like I'm caught in the middle of all the drama. I just hope this change sticks and they can move forward in a healthy way for their future and their baby. I guess only time will tell, but for now, I am relieved that things aren't as chaotic as they were before.